often compared to Paris for its elegance and cultural heritage. Today, we invite you to join us in discovering Bordeaux. Nicknamed the Port of the Moon, this poetic image refers to the curve of the Garonne River, which forms a crescent moon shape. In this episode, we will unveil the wonders of this city with its rich history and explore its historical and contemporary monuments. If you wish to delve deeper into the world of wine and the castles of this fabulous region, you can discover 3 other episodes dedicated to this. One on the Pape Clément and La Motte Bergeron castles, titled Wines, Castles and Seaside. Another titled From the City of Wine to the Basin of Lights. And finally, an episode dedicated to exploring Saint-Emilion with our film Suspended Time. But for today, it's all about Bordeaux, and only Bordeaux. So let's get ready for a full day of exploration as we uncover more than 30 locations. The city stands proudly in the Aquitaine region of southwest France, 450 kilometers from Paris, and just 1 hour's drive from the Atlantic coast. We begin our day by heading towards the city center and passing by the House of Creative Economy and Culture. It's a modern 12,000 square meters building designed to be a true home of creative hybridization. Each space is conceived as a vibrant area for artistic experimentation in tune with contemporary creation. At the heart of a vibrant neighborhood, the Victory Square is a must-see destination. Dominated by the majestic Porte d'Aquitaine, one of the city's old gates dating back to the 17th century, this square is a true testament to history. In 2005, the space was enriched with an obelisk and 2 giant bronze turtles, creations by Czech sculptor Ivan Timer, celebrating the culture of wine. The obelisk, a symbol of the vine reaching towards the sun, is adorned with bronze engravings and bas-reliefs, illustrating the myths and history of wine, with a particular focus on the Bordeaux region. The turtles, on the other hand, evoke the longevity of wine with their shells bearing Bordeaux appellations and bunches of grapes in their mouth. Formerly housing the Faculty of Pharmacy, the historic buildings around the square add the touch of authenticity. Just a few streets away stands one of the oldest belfries in France. The Big Bell is the sole remaining vestige of the city's ancient ramparts. Since the 13th century, its bells have marked the rhythm of life in Bordeaux. Back then, this defensive gate also served as a prison. As an anecdote, locals humorously referred to it as staying at the Golden Lion Hotel in reference to the weather vane on the central dome, depicting a lion, symbol of the kings of England. We briefly pass by the Aquitaine Museum, which is located in a historic 19th century building, retraces over 400,000 years of the region's history. The 400,000 years of the region's history. 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 we now arrive in the bustling heart of Bordeaux. The St. Catherine Street, which is one of the longest pedestrian and shopping streets in Europe, stretching over 1.2 kilometers. Lined with shops, major brands, and charming cafes, it offers an unparalleled shopping experience. This historic thoroughfare, dating back to Roman times, runs through the city from north to south, connecting Place de la Comédie, home to the big theatre, to Victory Square. Strolling along the street, we discover a diverse architectural mix ranging from 18th century buildings to modern structures reflecting the city's evolution. We make a quick stop to taste the traditional pastry of the region, the cannelé. Shaped cylindrically, this small cake has a delicate caramelized crust and a soft moist interior infused with flavors of vanilla and rum. Simply delicious. Dominating the sky of Bordeaux, the Basilica of Saint-Michel is a dual flamboyant Gothic architecture inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Located on Quinconces Square, this impressive church was built between the 14th and 16th centuries. Its bell tower, separate from the main body of the church, is one of the tallest in France, reaching a height of 114 meters. Now, we come to one of the city's iconic symbols, the Stone Bridge. Built on the orders of Napoleon I and completed in 1822, it was the first bridge to connect the two banks of the city. Composed of 17 arches, in homage to the letters in the name of Napoleon Bonaparte, the bridge spans 487 meters. Its sturdy piers are adorned with white medallions, depicting the emperor and his coat of arms. It offers a breathtaking view of the Garonne River and the classical 18th century facades of the Port of the Moon. Facing the bridge, we find the Burgundy Door. It marked the official entrance to the city on the old road leading to Paris. It was built between 1750 and 1755 and portrayed the image of the modern city in the 18th century. We are heading towards Pemberley Square and we can see a monument located under the trees set back from Cour d'Albret. This monument commemorates the death of Gironde during the battles of 1870 and 1871. We arrive at the square and discover a 3-meter tall bronze statue of Jacques Chaban-Delmas. He was the head of government under the presidency of Georges Pompidou from 1969 to 1972. And the city commissioned a giant statue in his honor depicting the politician with his head held high and proudly turned towards the cathedral and the town hall, two major sites of the municipality he managed for 48 years, from 1947 to 1995. The Saint-André Cathedral is the most important religious site in the city. It was consecrated in May 1096 by Pope Urban II during his tour to preach the First Crusade. The cathedral was rebuilt in the Gothic style from the 12th to the 16th century. Its heterogeneous architecture, including its separate bell tower, gives it a unique charm. The tympanum of the north portal is divided into 3 registers, featuring the Ascension of Christ, surrounded by the 12 apostles. inside the cathedral is 124 meters long and the single nave measures 18 meters wide. 2 royal marriages were celebrated in this church. In 1137, the marriage of Eleanor of Aquitaine to the future Louis VII, King of the Franks, and in November 1615, the marriage of Anne of Austria, Infanta of Spain, to Louis XIII, King of France and Navarre. Centuries later, the cathedral went through tumultuous periods, being transformed into a hay warehouse during the Revolution and suffering a devastating fire in the 19th century. We exit the cathedral and decide to have a drink on the square while admiring the exceptional architecture of this church. We continue our journey and now arrive at the Calo door. Standing at 35 meters tall, this medieval defensive gate has long served as the main entrance to the city from the port. Built between 1493 and 1496 on the site of an earlier defensive gate, it commemorates the conquest of the Kingdom of Naples by King Charles VIII and is among the iconic monuments in Gironde. Its military architecture is infused with elements of the Renaissance, featuring mullioned windows and intricate sculpted decorations. As for the more contemporary structure, the Camigelian Place was built in 1934 and pays tribute to the Bordeaux historian Camille Julien. A monument in his likeness stands on the square, made from ancient stones discovered in 1921 from the city's Roman wall. The Saint-Seurin Basilica, built in the early 11th century, was designated as a historic monument in 1840 and inscribed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1998 as part of the routes of Santiago de Compostela. It houses relics of saints including Saint Seurin and Saint Fort. In the mid-5th century, an initial church was erected on the site, but it was destroyed during Norman invasions in the 9th century. In the 11th century, the canons undertook a large-scale reconstruction of the church, making it an important pilgrimage site along the Way of St. James. During the 11th and 12th centuries, the nave and choir of the church were built, followed by the construction of the southern portal and a monumental entrance adorned with statues depicting the apostles and biblical scenes typical of Gothic architecture. In the 14th and 15th centuries, several chapels were added, including the Chapel of Our Lady of the Rose in a flamboyant Gothic style. The basilica includes a crypt, which became an important funerary sanctuary in the 5th century, housing the sarcophagi of Bordeaux's first canonized bishops. It was later renovated in 1635 to accommodate more sarcophagi, including that of Saint Fort. we now head towards Parliament Square and discover the St. Ferdinand Church. Built between 1862 and 1867 in the neo-Romanesque style, it features a facade adorned with two twin towers, a porch with a triple portal, decorated with bas-relief depicting the Nativity and the Holy Family, topped by three statues, including that of Saint Ferdinand. Square in the Italian style, located in the Saint-Pierre district, in historic center, rooted in the heart of Bordeaux. Parliament Square lights up with its golden limestone and Louis XV's facades, providing a lively setting for strolling and enjoying a drink or a break after shopping. Connected to various key points of the city by several streets, it reveals an architectural treasure with its neoclassical facades adorned with sculpted medallions and its sumptuous fountain. A work by architect Louis-Michel Garros, inaugurated in 1865. The Comedy Square is a gathering place for the people of Bordeaux. It's dominated by the majestic Big Theatre, built in 1780. It's renowned for its Corinthian columns and pediment adorned with statues representing the nine muses and the goddesses Juno, Venus, and Minerva. The square is a true cultural and commercial hub. It's surrounded by historic buildings and prestigious establishments such as the Grand Hôtel de Bordeaux. You can also find the artwork titled Sana by Jaume Plenza, a Spanish artist living in Barcelona, whose work we had already admired in our film about Antibes. Near the Big Theatre, on Place du Chapelet, in Rue Mably, we discover the church, Our Lady of Bordeaux, a Baroque building constructed at the end of the 17th century and classified as a historical monument since 1908. Known for its exceptional acoustics, it hosts numerous concerts. Just a few meters away, we discover the Saint-Pierre district, which is a maze of charming alleys and small squares, each with its own character and history. The street names reflect ancient professions and activities practiced there, such as Rue des Bahutiers, Cabinet Maker Street, or Rue des Argentiers, Silversmith Streets. Of course, there is Saint-Pierre Square, surrounded by numerous restaurants, cafes and bars, as well as the church, one of the iconic monuments of the neighborhood. Built between the 14th and 15th centuries, it was constructed on the remains of an ancient Romanesque church and a Gallo-Roman port. It's in typical Gothic style with its pointed arches and colorful stained glass windows. For a long time, it was a gathering place for sailors and fishermen from the port of Bordeaux. After spotting the city's renowned pizzeria, where we plan to dine later in the day, we take a quick break in a must-visit spot for Bordeaux gastronomy. The Balan Market Hall, which is located opposite the City of Wine in the heart of the Chartrons District. There, we buy some pinchos, these famous Basque specialties very popular in Spain. After this little snack, we head towards Quinconces Square. With its 126,000 square meters, it's one of the largest squares in Europe. It was created between 1818 and 1828 on the former Trompette Castle, a vast fortress built in the 15th century. It features a rectangular esplanade, bordered by rows of trees, planted in Quinconces formation. The square was initially named Place Louis XVI, then renamed Place Louis-Philippe, and received its current name after the Revolution of 1848. It houses statues of Montaigne and Montesquieu. After considering several projects over the decades, it was decided in 1883 to build a monument in the center of the hemicycle in memory of the Girondins and celebrating the Republic. The monument consists of a large pedestal surrounded by two basins adorned with horses and bronze groups, topped by a 43 meters column where the bronze statue of the Liberty, breaking her chains, rises to a height of 54 meters. At the end of the square, you'll find the rostral columns erected in 1828, which symbolize mastery of the seas with their neoclassical motifs inspired by Roman victories over Carthage. Located north of the city's historic center, the district of Chartrons is a blend of bourgeois and bohemian spirit. The former suburb began developing in the 14th century around a Carthaginian abbey from which the neighborhood derives its name. It was once the heart of Bordeaux's wine industry. It has evolved into a trendy and vibrant area. The district is known for its magnificent 18th century stone buildings and former warehouses transformed into lofts, art galleries, restaurants, and shops. And if you didn't know, Bordeaux has its own Statue of Liberty right in the heart of the Chartrons District on Pigalle Square. Offered to the city of Bordeaux, destroyed by the Germans, rebuilt, and then vandalized, the Statue of Liberty installed in Chartrons has had a tumultuous existence. It was created by the French sculptor Auguste Bartholdi and is a miniature replica standing no more than 3 meters tall of the famous Statue of Liberty gifted by the French to the Americans in 1886. And if you want to learn more about this artist, we invite you to watch our film about Colmar, the hometown of the sculptor. Not far from there, we discover the St. Louis Church. This neo-Gothic church features a highly vertical facade divided into three parts, adorned with a rose window and flanked by two towers with tall spires, each reaching 58 meters in height, along with a massive nave. St. Louis Church was built in the 19th century. Its interior is renowned for its impressive decoration. The high ceilings and spacious nave give it a majestic appearance. The church is adorned with various religious artworks, sculptures, and stained glass windows that enhance its beauty. Among others, it houses stained glass windows by Henri Fleur and Nicolas Lorrain. Nestled in the heart of the Tivoli district, River Park is a true green haven with all the charm of the city gardens. It's even said to be the coolest and most shaded park in Bordeaux. As one of the smallest parks in the city, it's a lesser known, yet richly historic and biodiverse place. Once the grounds of a 19th century bourgeois castle owned by Baron Alfred de Luz, it still preserves its ruined walls, towers, and a chimney integrated into the park's wooded landscape. The Gardeners and Nature House, located in the renovated old stables, promotes ecological gardening with a greenhouse and an educational garden. The park also hosts a variety of century-old trees, diverse wildlife, including birds and squirrels, and a playground. Away from the city center rises Bordeaux's oldest vestige, an ancient amphitheater built in the early 2nd century, during the Gallo-Roman period. Listed as a historical monument since 1840, it remains partially visible with an entrance and some preserved walls. Recent excavations suggest construction dates back to the 1st or early 2nd century. Measuring 132 per 111 meters, it could accommodate approximately 22,000 spectators. Abandoned at the end of the antiquity, it was used as a stone quarry in the Middle Ages and as a dump during the French Revolution. We are heading downtown to visit the Stock Exchange Square. Formerly known as Place Royale, it's an emblematic site built between 1730 and 1755. It's bordered by two symmetrical pavilions, the Palais de la Bourse and the Hôtel des Douanes. These two buildings still serve their original functions as the Chamber of Commerce and Customs Administration. The equestrian statue of Louis XV originally adorned its center before being temporarily replaced by a Liberty tree during the Revolution. In the 1850s, the city embarked on numerous fountain projects, and it's here that the Fountain of the Three Graces now stands, representing the daughters of Zeus, Aglaia, Euphrosyne, and Thalia. According to some, the sculpture drew inspiration from three sovereigns of the time for the faces of the three statues: Empress Eugenie, Queen Isabella of Spain, and Queen Victoria of England. Remodeled over the centuries, the square is a remarkable example of 18th century French classical architecture, with its orderly facades and symbolic sculptures. Just opposite is a gigantic water mirror spanning 3,450 square meters. This spectacular creation was envisioned by Parisian fountain designer Jean-Max Lorca as part of the quayside redevelopment by landscape architect Michel Corajou. The system alternates between a mirror effect with 2 cm of water resting on a granite slab and a mist effect that can reach heights of up to 2 meters. The entire pavement is surrounded by a garden. We now take a water bus to cross the Garonne River and have a drink while enjoying a view of the city.
You're never here when my tears dry. You're never
We observe the city from the river and pass by the vicinity of the Chabandelmas Bridge, one of the largest lift bridges in Europe. It serves both as an urban crossing and allows from the passage of cruise ships. In each of the towers, there is a counterweight of 600 tons and lifting pulleys that enable the central span to be raised. In case of a malfunction, the lift span descends solely due to its weight.
to get to see you again. You only have a heart when mine is bleeding.
Arriving on the other side of the river, we have a drink at the Guinguette chez Alaric, an iconic venue on the banks of the Garonne. It's a place where you can enjoy a drink and dinner while soaking up a friendly and musical atmosphere. The Guinguette is renowned for its live music concerts, often featuring various genres. It's a popular spot to relax and soak in the warm atmosphere of the place. It's now time to go to eat, and we come back to the city center in the pizzeria we spotted earlier. And if, like us, you want to eat an excellent pizza, we head to l'Osteria da Bartolo on Fawcett Street, near Saint-Pierre Square. After dinner, we head back to the right bank to the neighborhood of Bastide to explore Darwin Ecosystem, located in a former military barracks and described as the alternative hub of the right bank. It's a multifaceted place that attracts a diverse range of people with innovative projects. From skaters and street art enthusiasts to entrepreneurs in the green economy, fans of electronic music, biodiversity advocates, and those looking for organic dining options, everyone finds something of interest here. Darwin is a place where you can choose to consume differently. And with this final visit, our day comes to an end. Bordeaux is a city that charms with its architecture, lively quays along the Garonne River, and rich cultural heritage. As an elegant and historic city, it's also a must-visit destination for wine lovers, gastronomy enthusiasts, and history buffs. The majestic Place de la Bourse and the charming streets of Saint-Pierre district evoke a bygone era, while the shimmering waters of the water mirror and the expansive green spaces like River Park offer moments of serenity and contemplation. Culture enthusiasts will find treasures of inspirations in its museums and monuments, while food lovers will embark on a sensory journey through its markets and restaurants. Furthermore, If you want to discover the City of Wine, the Quays, the Pool of Lights and the Natural History Museum, you can find the link of our movie in the description. Feel free to like, comment and subscribe to stay updated on our latest films. See you soon for new discoveries.